I'm Mike Bradner, and we're at the Governor's Conference on Alaska Futures, and we have with us Doug Ward, who runs the Ketchikan shipyard, which is a unique creature that we can talk about in just a few minutes. But Doug, from your perspective, what's happening here at this conference, and what's the next step? I mean, what next step are we trying to find?
Well, Mike, I guess from my perspective, I moved to Alaska in 1985, went up to the slope to work on the slope, and after I was done with that first job assignment, came back to Anchorage, couldn't find a job, couldn't stay in the state, and had left the state as a result. Came back a few years later to Ketchikan, and got there just in time for the timber industry collapse, and the imported foreign farm fish hurt the salmon industry. So in the mid-90s, went through another downturn in Alaska's economy, but got involved with the Ketchikan shipyard project then, and have been a part of that project since 1994, a little over 20 years.
Now that's unique, and it has a place in state spending. It's, what would you call it? It's a quasi public-private partnership with many different governments.
Right. Well, in fact, it's a formal public-private partnership. We have a memorandum of understanding between Vigor Industrial now. We used to be Alaska Ship and Dry Dock. That agreement is the operating agreement between the private sector shipyard operator and the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority. That was ratified in 2010. It's got a 30-year term to it, and it has a parallel memorandum of agreement between the state of Alaska, ADA, and both the city and borough of Ketchikan that provide certain financial incentives to operate that shipyard.
And from time to time, you've had an infusion of state general funds plus assistance from ADA, or loan assistance?
Yeah, the way this worked, as a publicly owned yard, and this actually happened because of the collapse of the timber industry, there was economic disaster relief funds that flowed into Southeast Alaska region back in the mid-90s. And the Ketchikan Borough was the recipient of those, and they allocated around $2.5 million to begin building up the shipyard infrastructure that was seriously missing from the original build-out in 1987. Interestingly enough, well, with that, then we became the essentially the contract lobbyist for the state of Alaska to get implementation on the 1999 shipyard development plan that ADA and we created. So that brought in federal investment, matched with state general funds for matches. We went through some competitive grant processes. The U.S. Economic Development Administration funded a new dry dock. So there's been a whole panoply of different funding sources.
But when you plug that into what's happening here, what kind of state we want, what are things we have to do, and like this year we generally did away with the capital budget, but the capital budget is also an important piece of resource for
Right.
Alaska development, and sometimes it's not just a lot of money, but it's a piece of the pie, and so it's almost an operating budget in itself, pieces of it.
Yes, I would agree with that, Mike. I think, one of the biggest pieces of commerce that we are lacking in the state of Alaska is a full and vibrant suite of support businesses around anchor projects like a shipyard. Our business base in Ketchikan was essentially gone away with the collapse of the timber industry, and now we need to, the purpose of the shipyard was to begin so existing businesses could expand their offerings in the marine industrial sector and attract those business opportunities that don't exist in the state already, but do exist down in the state of Washington. And after 21 years, I didn't think it would take this long, and nobody ever does, but that is beginning to happen. We now have LA Bay Design Group has moved to Ketchikan.
When you do work on like the ferries, I mean,
Well, yes, and that's so we do, we have a term maintenance agreement for the state that we do all the annual maintenance that the Coast Guard requires on the ferries. We're building 2 new ferries for the state right now in our brand new assembly hall, which really is one of state-of-the-art, modern, productive infrastructure that is going to drive the attraction of this new business space.
so when you get to the bottom line, you need a strong and vigorous economy and state and stuff to, you know, and a mentality that goes with it.
Oh, absolutely. And there's, I think Alaska and the people up here, I'm not too concerned about our current fiscal crisis. I have a lot of confidence in what we can do in this state. I've seen us do it at least 2 times before that I personally experienced. I know we can do it again. The young people that I'm seeing coming into our workforce, and by the way, the new ferries that we're building those at Gulf of Mexico pricing. As a result, we're not allowed the luxury of using higher cost, knowledgeable and experienced contract labor. We're having to build an Alaska young workforce which is not used to this kind of advanced manufacturing. But these young people that are coming into the workforce are top notch. They're moving up through the ranks faster than you can believe, and they're doing great work. So,
Doug, we're out of time, and
okay.
We've been talking to Doug Ward, Ketchikan Shipyard, leading a lot of innovation in this state, keeping work in Alaska. And Doug, thank you for being with us. And I'm Mike Radner, and this is the Governor's Conference on Our Future.
Thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and it's an honor to be here.